Grace and peace, family. Grace and peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. My Hotep. Namaste. Free the land, beloved. Come on in, come on in, come on in. My name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm a very proud contributor right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, the network for melanated women just like you. Welcome, 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 family. We're so pleased that you are with us today. Thank you for your patience. As you can see, we had some tech issues, but we are starting over, and we're going to continue to move forward. I'm going to get to the information as soon as possible and get to it to try to avoid as many interruptions as possible. Come on, somebody talk black to me. Welcome, 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 family. Of course, those of you that are familiar with the show, you know about our housekeeping. We ask that when you come in, that you come in, please, giving us the thumbs up, thumbs up. We like to draw other people into the broadcast because Black media matters. As you do that, you increase the likeliness of others hearing our voice. And we know that Black folk, our voice needs to be heard. We need to control the narrative. Somebody talk black to me. Shout out to each and every one of you that are here today. Welcome, 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 welcome. And for the first time, if this is your first time with us, we welcome you as well. We do ask that you hit the subscribe button and make sure that you hit that bell so that you're able to receive notifications when we do go live from time to time, because oftentimes we have some interruptions and some of the platforms don't always send out notifications properly or to a small portion of folks. We ask that you be sure to text the word Queens to 31996. Please text the word Queens to 31996, 31996. That way you're able to receive phone notifications when some of the queens, including myself, are going live from time to time. Family, we have a very, 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 very important subject today to discuss. A very important subject. Somebody please put the word Queens, text the word Queens to 31996 into the comment section for me, please. Thank you so much for doing that. Family, as you all know, we are not in ordinary times. Somebody talk black to me. We are not in ordinary times. Are y'all hearing me today? We are not in ordinary times. We are at war, family. And I'm talking specifically, there's a war on multiple fronts. Are y'all hearing me? We are at war, Black family. And the war is us. Are y'all hearing me? Shout out to our moderators. Shout out to Dual and others that are in the digital building. Thank you so much, dear family, for your presence. And the war is us. Why do I remind us of that? Because when you're at war, you don't treat it like it's any other time. When you're at war, you conduct yourself accordingly. We know that voices, strong, powerful, intelligent Black voices that have come to serve as servants to Black people for many, many years have been accosted, persecuted, murdered, tormented whenever they rose up to stand up for Black people. Are y'all hearing me today? There were severe and dire consequences for those that tended to do that. Are y'all hearing me today? But may I tell you that these times that we're in, these times that are not ordinary times, we're in what's called the fullness of time. We had plenty of powerful Black men and women that preceded us, and they contributed to this part of liberation. It is now time for us in this season, in this time, this fullness of time, to rise up and to push this baby of Black liberation out. Once liberation is realized for the Black man and the Black woman, then the rest of the world can be assured to receive liberation. They can be assured also to dwell in a world of freedom, justice, and equity. Are y'all hearing me today? Their liberation is tied to our own. Y'all better hear me today. This is important that I stress that. This is the purpose of much of my content and the subjects that we discuss. I endeavor as much as possible to live a balanced life. Prayer, meditation, taking very good care as much as possible of oneself. I must do that, especially considering my health journey that I'm on. To realize healing for one of my major organs with this autoimmune disease. Somebody talk Black to me. It's necessary for me. I don't consider self-care now a luxury. That's been the problem with how we see life. So because these are not ordinary times, though, family, we have to spend a greater amount of energy, a greater amount of mental prowess, a greater amount of strategy dealing with the fact that we are at war. Why am I mentioning that today? Because my subject is about the fact that law enforcement, and when I'm saying law enforcement, I'm using the word law enforcement to include the U.S. military. I'm using the word law enforcement to include any agency on a local, state, or federal or international level that has anything to do with so-called protecting the American people, serving. You know, the police claim that that's a part of their oath, right, to protect and to serve. Any group that purports, somebody talk Black to me, any group that purports to do that, I am referring to each of those individuals as law enforcement. I titled today's show, which is why I want to get right into it, is the fact that law enforcement has been infiltrated rather with sleeper cells. Now I'm using that word infiltrated just for the average person to understand their presence is there. But infiltration might not even be the correct word, because I believe that racist race soldiers, that's who I'm really referring to today as the sleeper cells. I want to let you know that the law enforcement is born out of slavery. Somebody talk to me. Not just merely infiltrated. Infiltrated often suggests that it's a power or it's a force or it's an entity from the outside in. Whereas I want us to really understand that is in terms of the American law enforcement, the way it's set up, is really, it's born out of this need to control, to bully, and to dominate other people. Somebody talk Black to me. These are very serious times, but for the Black man and the Black woman, and by extension, other people groups, if they can honor and respect and prioritize our liberation, because they understand that if we receive it, they're guaranteed to get it as well. But these are important times. These are exciting times because it speaks to our soon coming rule. It's an exciting time for the Black man and the Black woman, even in the midst of this chaos. We're getting ready to ride this chaos like a skilled jockey. Somebody talk Black to me. We are going to begin to rearrange and reorder. There is truly a new world order. And the God and the ancestors have told us this way in advance. And the fact that we are seeing evidence of this all around us is proof that they are absolutely correct. And we have been called as agents, as people, as servants for such a time as this. That's the reason why I say that for us, it's an exciting time as well. Because we have been chosen to bring our liberation to reality. To reality. And that is the reason why it is important that we be careful, that when we recognize that there is a Black man, there is a Black woman that's rising up to love on and speak on behalf of Black people, that's not actively work against their own, that we support them. And if you don't like specific things about them, again, not those that we see that are actively working against their own people. That's the caveat. But if you see that they love Black people, and if there is an area or there's a part of a religion that you don't appreciate, or a part of an ideology that you don't support, but it's not impeding their love and their work for the liberation of Black people, then just close your mouth. Let the first rule that we abide by be also do no harm. Somebody talk Black to me. This is a way that we can stay on code with each other. Now, law enforcement, police departments, the FBI, the CIA, other entities are born out of slavery, but for purposes of modern day language and understanding, I'm going to use the word infiltrated, because in some ways we are seeing the strategy of how they go in to use a thing, notwithstanding how it came to be in the first place. But this is important for us to understand, family. Now, what made me decide to discuss this? And by the way, I'm going to let you listen and see a video that's on, that was on all throughout social media. And I actually saw this video many months ago, actually, but it has recently resurfaced. And I wondered why. So as I began to research and as I began to vet some of the sources, some of the articles that I was reading concerning this one particular female officer, I realized that they made a recent decision regarding this female military officer, Navy officer, who was exposed for her racism. And then I was, of course, reminded of the manifold stories that have been coming out back to back to back to back to back about the police department and about the military that has been exposed, members of Nazi organizations and white nationalist organizations have been exposed in ways that we've not typically seen before. Somebody talk Black to me. So one of those stories, and by the way, when I'm talking about a sleeper cells, for purposes of clarity, let me give you my definition of sleeper cells. Just before I do that, I want to let you know that some of the audio video that you'll be experiencing today is under the Copyright Disclaimer Act, under copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, where allowance is made for fair use. And of course, we're going to be using it for purposes such as criticism and comment, reporting and teaching and research and so forth. And it typically tips it in the balance of our favor of fair use. So just FYI. Listen to this, family. Safety to you, Marvin, and shout out to each of you Black family. Now listen, for purposes of our subject today, when I say that law enforcement has been infiltrated with sleeper cells, the definition of sleeper cells for purposes of the content in which the context for our subject today is about a sleeper cell it's about spies or terrorist agents. Listen, spies or terrorist agents. Are y'all hearing me? Spies, or can you all see me? Spies, here we go. Spies or terrorist agents that remain inactive within a targeted population until or directed to act, until they act or until they are directed to act. Do you all hear me? I'm going to say that again. For purposes of our conversation today, a sleeper cell are spies or terrorist agents that remain inactive within a targeted population until directed to act. Y'all better hear me today. Somebody talk Black to me. Now listen, So I wanted that to be clear. And I want you to be sure to keep that definition in mind. One of the news articles that I wanted to remind you of, and of course, many of you may have heard about this before. Now I'm reading from this World Socialist website, which there have been many others that confirm this, including Huffington Post, which I fact-checked this with. Listen to this. Neo-Nazi networks exposed across the U.S. military. This was just from this year of 2019, May. This was written by Jacob Cross. Now listen. Over the past couple of months, investigations published by Unicorn, Riot, and Huffington Post, even that's a couple of references that you can look up, have exposed 11 members of Identity Europa. And I hope that that's the proper pronunciation, because I know sometimes the V is pronounced as a U. An American neo-Nazi organization is spelled EVROPA. An American neo-Nazi, excuse me, organization operating freely within the U.S. military. The latest exposure reveals the extent to which reactionary forces are allowed, listen, to cultivate, fester, and recruit within the United States Armed Forces across all branches and ranks. Y'all see that picture there? I'm going to say this last part again. Because while some of you all, some of our people are content, it's enough for them to just be a Black Sunday morning news pundit. Some of our people think that just by them going on national news to talk about how terrible it is that white Americans are coming out of the closet with their racism, they think our people, some of our folk, think it's enough to simply expose that. They think it's enough to simply just get on there and fuss about it. They think that by telling white folks how terrible it is that they're being racist, that that's going to be enough to change hearts and minds. They think that because they're exposing this, that it's going to effectively cause them to change course and to grow a conscience and to become moral. What you're exposing is your own ignorance of the true enemy and the true nature of your enemy. Somebody talk Black to me. As I have said many times, America, we have been here on this side of the waters before America was officially formed. Before America was officially the United States of America, we were here. Somebody talk Black to me. And what America has shown us is her nature. She has shown us a pattern of terrorism, of genocide, of murder, of fraud, of theft, of rape, of sodomy, of all manner of evil. Somebody say all manner of evil. I said all manner of evil. She has shown us that there is no limit. There is no depth. There is no end to her corruption, to her debauchery, to the evil that she can contrive. Somebody talk Black to me. So when folk go to talking about one of the things that they're going to do in order to correct a law enforcement's criminal behavior is to train them, let us make news today. Let us make news today. I'm getting the gavel ready in advance. Let's get the hammers ready in advance, because you know a gavel is a type of hammer. Let's get it ready in advance. I'm gonna need somebody to put that. Give me some hammer emojis. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to make some breaking news. I see you all. Thank you. I've said this before, but because it hasn't hit home like it should, I'm gonna keep saying it again. Here's the breaking news. Y'all ready for the breaking news? Here's the breaking news. You cannot train somebody out of their nature. Somebody talk Black to me. Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? You cannot train somebody out of their nature. We are finding that. Years ago, they said, you know what? If we put these officers, these policemen, if we put them on camera, and they know that we know that they're gonna be on camera, they're gonna be less. They're not gonna have a tendency to mistreat civilians. How many of you know that officers criminal behavior, their misbehavior has been captured by those very cameras? Somebody talk black to me. Because of the advent of smartphones, how many of you know that has not deterred officers from across the country from continuously mistreating, murdering, shooting, and terrorizing black people? Some of you have said such things like, you would think that with the cameras on that they wouldn't do that. Some of you go around there, and I be hearing them on the phone time after time. They're recording incidents with racists and with bigots, right? And black folks, they be tripping me out when I be hearing their voice in the background. They say, yeah, watch this. I'm finna record you. I'm finna make you go viral. Now, what you say again? With their phones up. What you call me? What you just say to my mama? What you just call my child? Didn't you just accuse me of stealing, ma'am? Didn't you just call me a nigger? Somebody talk black to me. We go around acting like we so big and bad because we're fixing to record them. We think that threatening to record somebody and expose them is going to somehow deter them. And when it doesn't, we're the only ones that's left stupefied, shocked, and amazed that it didn't work. Y'all better talk black to me. You are the one that's left feeling and looking stupid. You can't believe that someone would continue to do something so egregious, knowing that they would be recorded, knowing that they could possibly be exposed. You're confused as to why they're doing it in the first place because you've seen a whole lot of videos on social media exposing people. Because you've seen a lot of videos, you automatically assume that the rest of these racist white folk out here are looking at those same videos and feeling the same way that you do. When in fact, what you don't understand is many of them have not. And those that have seen those videos, too many of them, because of their wicked nature that they've shown us, they don't cry. The worst of the worst are not crying and shocked when they see video footage of them murdering your loved ones. You're the only one that's doing that. They see it as encouragement. Y'all better talk black to me. That's the reason why you've got certain black schools of thought that are against even posting violent video footage of black folks being beat up and shot, because it shows too often how the most overt racist is actually turned on and emboldened by such videos. In the book, Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity by the great Dr. Wesley Muhammad. By the way, again, you can get this at NOI.org. He discusses years ago that concerning sodomy, concerning white men that will engage in homoerotic activity, oftentimes they long for and they were attracted mostly to black flesh. And when they saw whelps in the black flesh, it was actually a turn on. The way it worked with some of their sick psychology. But because some of you refuse to pick up the war book, y'all better talk black to me. Because you refuse to pick up this 414-page war book to understand the numerous ways in which your government has and is actively warring against you in seen and in unseen ways. You refuse to become educated about what they're actually doing. You are not aware of what their true nature is and how it's operating right under your nose. Y'all better talk black to me. So what I'm trying to get you all to see is when you see the more and more cameras that there's out there, the more and more malfeasance and criminal behavior and savage behavior we keep seeing from our open enemies. When you keep seeing them doing the opposite of what you would do, you, a conscious, God-fearing, many of you, human being that has a conscience, that's truly human. When you see that folk are operating the opposite of you, you got to say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm not dealing with I'm not dealing with something that's normal here. You've got to adjust your warfare strategies, but you've got to first know who your enemy is and his nature. Somebody say it louder, please. Some of the people, I'd be knowing I'm yelling in the first place. Y'all talk black to me. Are y'all hearing me? Now, this is not an attempt for me to name call. My goal is to simply say, let's look at the facts here. Let's look at history. Now, Vicki, get on into this article, more into this article. It's talking about what? It says that over the past couple of months, as I just read before, it says what? It says that the latest exposure reveals the extent to which, and I need y'all to hear this, the extent to which reactionary forces are allowed, listen, to cultivate. Think about that word, cultivate. Fester and recruit within the United States Armed Forces across all branches and ranks. Y'all better hear me today. The U.S. military, it says across all branches and all ranks, from the high to the low, from the Navy to the Army to the Air Force. Y'all better hear me today. Across the board, it says that these neo-Nazi networks are what? They're allowed to cultivate, y'all, fester, and recruit. In March of 2019, independent media outlet Unicorn Riot published more than 770,000 Discord chat messages from chat servers associated with Identity Europa. Discord is a messaging service popular with computer video game players. Listen to this, family. It says, combing through, shout out to you, Big Lou, for your gift. Combing through the chat logs, Huffington Post reporters have so far been able to identify 11 members from the white supremacist organization who are currently serving in the U.S. military. The chat logs reveal that all of the participants are well versed in fascist ideology and are actively recruiting. Actively recruiting. Actively recruiting. Do y'all know what that means? Actively recruiting. Actively recruiting. Growing. Getting other people to join their otherwise, some might even call it their paramilitary. They're getting other folks to join. These are folks, listen, think about this. These are folks that are trained to kill. These are folks that are trained with the latest and best weaponry, tactics, and strategy. Y'all hearing me? Are y'all hearing me? These are folk that are trained to be killers. Y'all better hear me today. These are folks that are trained to be killers. And with that training, watch this, that's not the only thing they have. And with that access to legally murder, to legally kill. The same with police officers. What do? The reason why I believe there's a disproportionate number of white men in particular that are police officers. The reason why I believe there's a disproportionate number of white males that seek to be the police officers, is because they can murder, they can kill, they can be themselves under color of law. Somebody talk black to me. Somebody talk black to me. Are y'all hearing me? It is the closest thing that they can do as a career and get paid for it. They do it under color of law. Y'all hearing me today? That's one of the reasons I think that they find it so hard to find black folk to join the military for them, because it's not our nature. We don't have a nature to always be in other folks' business. We don't have our nature. Most of our nature isn't to go around bossing other folks around, telling other folks what to do, pretending like we're here to protect and to serve, pretending like we want to put our lives on the line and to serve and to protect our country. No, those that say such things too often, what they're trying to protect and to preserve is white supremacy. Somebody talk black to me. Not protect and serve, to protect and preserve. Y'all better hear me today. Too often, they're there. Can you all see me? Or there we go. Too often, they're there to protect and preserve, not serve, protect and preserve white supremacy under color of law. What do you mean under color of law? They, family, in order to act out of their nature to kill, to murder, and specifically to destroy first and foremost the black man and the black woman, to accost and to persecute and to terrorize the black man and the black woman. Where can they do that freely and get away with it, in other words? That's what I'm trying to say. Ain't no sense in me trying to use any more diplomatic words than that. It's about where can they go? What can they do to do that and get away with it? And they use the law as their shield. And they say what? They said that they feared for their lives. Or what do? They lie and they forge their police reports. Remember, the young man had his camera on and the white police officer told him to drop the weapon. What did he say? I don't have a weapon. He kept his hands up. Then the police told him to do what? Remember when the police told him to turn off the car? He says, nope, I'm not going to turn off the car, because he was going to use it as an excuse. The reason why he moved, so the police officer, because if the young man moved, the police could say, hey, he was reaching for a gun. And so the guy, the black man in that instance, actually his life was saved by disobeying the police and turning off the car. Somebody said they saw that video. That's their nature. And I'm fixing to give you some more examples. Oh, we come with receipts. Somebody talk black to me. On the count of three, family, I want everybody that hasn't to give us a thumbs up. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, family. Thumbs up, black family. Take a quick moment. If you're under the sound of my voice, take a quick moment. Take a quick moment to keep giving us a thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to repost. Make sure, family, that you've subscribed to FlyNubianQueen.com. We want to welcome new viewers, those of you that are new, that are watching us. We thank you. We welcome you to the Fly Nubian Queen family. We're so pleased that you are with us today. Again, my name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm here Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm so pleased to be one of the wonderful, the beautiful collection of Fly Nubian Queens. Listen. It says this chat log revealed that all of the participants are well versed in fascist ideology, which I just said, right? Watch this. It says that many of them share frequently and glorified Adolf Hitler. I'm skipping through this. Photos posted in the chat logs and on Twitter show members postering on college campuses with racist slogans proclaiming to protest recruits, quote unquote, it's okay to be white. Are y'all hearing me? It talked about how they raised money. And it talked about how one fascist exposed to the logs is currently a master sergeant. Let me repeat that. One of them that was exposed in the logs is currently a master sergeant in the Air Force named Corey Allen Reeve. His last name is spelled R-E-E-V-E. Corey, C-O-R-Y, Allen Reeve. He is a master sergeant. Reeve lives in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where he was outed by an anti-fascist activist in a flyer that was distributed throughout the community. Y'all hear that? By the way, he ended up starting an organization where he charged $10 monthly for membership dues and so forth. It says he also shared photographs of himself at the Aurora Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE Processing Center and Detention Facility in Aurora, Colorado, where he's posted signs thanking the Gestapo-like border police for all that you do for our country. It goes on to say this. Are y'all ready for this? 2 Reserve Officer Training Corps. What does that stand for, family? ROTC. What y'all know about ROTC? What do you all know about ROTC? It says 2 Reserve Officer Training Corps college students were also exposed in the chat. They're targeting young people, family. Now, let me stop right here and say this. Remember how I said a few minutes ago how our people are just content to be on television? Black folks, black pundits, black Sunday morning talk show hosts and panelists. Black folks are just excited to get on TV to explain to white people how wrong it is to be racist, as if that's enough. Meanwhile, while you got your funny looking self on there, excited about the fact that you know how to articulate racism historically, you are just excited to have an audience with white people to explain to white people how wrong it is to be racist against black people. Meanwhile, they're using the military. It says all branches, all ranks. They're starting other organizations. It says that they're festering, and that these organizations are festering and they're being what? Nurtured within the military. These folks are getting gunned and being trained to murder. And you are excited to go on TV to tell white people how wrong it is to be racist. As if that was enough. You see how we look like stupid, ineffective soldiers. Asking simply that one of them be fired. Y'all, I got to be real with you, family. You've got folk. What did I tell you? Everything I'm giving you when I'm referencing books by scholars, when I'm giving you news reports, when I'm giving you specific names, family, I'm reminding you of specific and mostly recent incidents oftentimes. And of course, I give historical context as well, and always referring back to what's happened in the past, which really is the present. You have no reason not to believe what I'm saying. And when you recognize that we're at war, you must conduct yourself accordingly. But we look foolish. We look foolish because for some of you, you're just trying to get mentally high or experience some kind of intellectual orgasm of sorts. Forgive my language, but that's the only way I can explain it. Some of you you feel so good knowing that you're before a white audience to explain to them how terrible they are, and that's all you content to do. Y'all better talk black to me. I'm not suggesting to be reckless. Y'all know that. Y'all know I'm not suggesting to be the aggressor. We're trained against doing such things. But I am saying it does not make sense that our desire would be to constantly be a part of systems that are quite literally killing us. Somebody talk black to me. You've got a what? I said one of the officers is a master sergeant in the Air Force named Corey Allen Reeve. I just told you 2 Reserve Officer Training Corps college students were exposed in the chat. J.C. Harrison, who's 20, is currently enrolled at Montana State University at Bozeman and is a member of the Army National Guard. In the logs, he was espousing anti-Semitic lies, talking about he's discrediting the veracity of the Holocaust. I wish the Holocaust was real, he said. It goes on to talk about others. The highest ranking soldier exposed as a member of Identity Europa in the chat logs is, listen, a 44-year-old Christopher Cummings. Christopher, last name, Cummins, a lieutenant colonel physician. Y'all better talk black to me. Did you all hear what I said? A 44-year-old Christopher Cummings, a lieutenant colonel physician in the Army Reserve. Cummins has also registered with the Military Order of Stars and Bars. How many of you know who that is? Some of you have heard of that before. Cummings is also registered with the Military Order of Stars and Bars, a neo-Confederate organization. In the log, Cummings extolled the virtues of living in Tennessee because it is, quote, conservative and Christian, implicitly white, end quote. I said, this is your lieutenant colonel's family. While you sitting there talking about how terrible it is, and how you can't believe it's happening in 2019. How you keep saying, I never thought I was going to have to expose my children to. Why you just saying that? That's all you saying. It's fine to say that. It's fine to get that off your chest, but that's all you saying. And you still are trying to integrate into these very same systems. You're not trying to police yourselves. I think it's important that we expose them. That's a part of what we have to do now until. It's important that we blow the whistle on these organizations. But it's also important that we police our own communities. It's also important that we organize like the standing military in the Nation of Islam does to protect their own people and to prepare. And like a few other Black members, I saw one of a video some time ago. Recently, I believe it's considered to be one of the new Black Party branches. These brothers, and of course this don't make the major news, but that's the reason why Black media matters. Somebody talk black to me. That's the reason why it's important. Black media content creators are important so we can tell you these stories. Listen, I believe they were part of the new Black Panther Party, one of those branches. And these Black men went into a store that was owned by foreigner. How many of you know that in too many of our neighborhoods, if we can call them that, foreigners are there, bloodsuckers of us. Other people groups paying their mortgages and sending their children to Harvard, while many of you running around here still saying how pitiful we are and how we don't have resources. We're still owed reparations. But if we have absolutely nothing in terms of the money that flows through our hands and how we can redistribute a portion of that money, don't get me wrong. I know that many of us can't get all of our stuff from Black people only because we're not even in areas where there are Black grocery stores or Black gas stations and so forth. But there are some things that we can do where we can redistribute a certain percentage or portion of our dollars in Black areas, even if it's online, even if it's supporting Black online organization and peoples and networks. If we are so without, and don't get me wrong, we're at the end of the rung amongst most people groups, all people groups in the United States, even though we're the ones that made America. They stole from us. It's a reason we're in that predicament. But while you're trying to survive, while you're trying to get to the operating table so that you can get major surgery, if you are bleeding, you're not going to tell me that you're not going to make a tourniquet to stop the bleeding while you're on the way to the emergency room. So when I hear certain reparations talking heads say and disrespect other Black folk that are trying to economically empower Black people. In the meantime, you look quite stupid. And it's no way we can really believe you when we know we got 1.2, 1.3 trillion that goes through our hands. I'm not saying it's wealth. I'm saying that we can redistribute that wealth. We know that it's power within that money that flows through our hands. How do we know that? Because other people groups are sending their children to college off of our dollars. Other people groups are buying commercial buildings off of those Black dollars. We're just simply saying, instead of us spending so much of it with those that hate us and don't stand for us and that serve us behind bulletproof barriers and that accuse us of stealing even though no theft has occurred, that mistreat us, we're just simply saying perhaps we should redistribute those dollars. Somebody talk Black to me. I don't want to hear another knucklehead voice out there telling us that while we're demanding reparations, they just remind us of how we're nothing, 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 nothing. That's just like saying, if it appears that somebody's having a heart attack, don't give them CPR. We trying to get them to the emergency room, so don't even worry about giving them CPR. You see how stupid you look? Acknowledging the fact that there's something we can do temporarily to try to improve our conditions is not relieving our open enemies of our just demand of the debt that they owe. Are y'all hearing me? And more than that, we just simply want you to shut your mouth when Black folks try to come up with a solution that could possibly work and somewhat improve our condition in the meantime. We want you to just shut up disrespecting them and targeting them. That's a side note. Somebody talk Black to me. Listen back to this article. We're talking about the fact that, family, that law enforcement has been infiltrated with sleeper cells, racist sleeper cells. And what is a sleeper cell, family? What did I tell you? It's a what? It's a spy. It's a terrorist agent or terrorist agents. What? That remain inactive. They remain inactive within a targeted population until ordered to act. Somebody talk Black to me. So this is another reason why you all keep seeing all of these incidents start to pop up all over the place. And you're shocked and you're amazed. And you said that you can't believe that this is happening in our federal organizations, in the FBI, in the CIA, that is happening within the police department, within the sheriff's department. They're like sleeper cells. They've been inactive. They have been inactive, it seems, but they've been working behind the scenes. And now, family, they're revealing themselves. And as I told you before, many of them intentionally become law enforcement agents because they're able to break the law under color of law. Somebody talk Black to me. They're able to execute their wicked nature of terrorizing and murdering us under color of law, meaning they're protected in their illegality. They can pretend that they were somehow protecting and serving America in murdering you. Think about that. Listen, family. Listen. This 44-year-old Christopher Cummings. No, this is a different one I'm talking about now. Who was that other one I just mentioned? Oh, yeah, that's him. The lieutenant colonel physician in the Army Reserve. What did he say? It says that he, in a log, extolled the virtues of living in Tennessee because it is conservative and Christian, implicitly white. This is a reason why I rail against this modern mainstream Christianity, because it's nothing but white supremacy. Paula White, white supremacy. Marcus and Joni Lamb, white supremacy. Folk on TBN, white supremacy. Franklin Graham, white supremacy. Those of you Negroes that shake it in your boots because I'm calling them out right now, you are ill. And I'm pleased that you've come to FlyNewbieQueenTV.com, tuned into the Vicki Show so that you can get well. Because if you're feeling some kind of way that I'm calling them out, something is wrong with you. That's an indication that something's wrong with you. Shout out to you, Roberta, for your gift. He says, thanks for addressing this epidemic. Indeed, beloved. And I'm also trying to show you why you should not rely on solely and put all your hopes and dreams in calling the police. When too many times we find stories of Black folks calling the police to settle little disputes around the house, and then their loved ones ended up murdered. You put more trust in your 464-year-old open enemy than you do your own people. Somebody talk Black to me. It's now or never us starting to police our own communities. It's now or never with us doing resolutions amongst ourselves. I was telling you a few minutes ago about, what was it, a clip or something. It was a point that I was going to make a few minutes ago about the infiltration of this military, of these racists, and hopefully it'll come back to me. A point that I wanted to tie in a few minutes ago that I saw not too long ago. But the main thing I want you to know before I continue with this is that it's not enough. You're not going to be able to train someone who's shown you who they really are out of their nature. You look stupid and foolish, constantly asking those that just murdered your people. When you say stuff like this, what would you do if it was your parents? What would you do if it was your son? You look foolish, family, when you do that. You look foolish. I'm trying to say, stop using your energy to do foolish stuff and utilize your energy and your time on building our own and beginning to separate ourselves from folk that are killing us. Are y'all hearing me today? People that recognize that we're at war don't do such foolish things. Soldiers, warriors don't act like that. They don't try to negotiate with the other side in such feckless and weak ways. Your weakness is not cute. Your weakness is not even a sign of your humanity. It's a sign of your affected humanity. And your weakness to the world makes us an even greater prey to our enemy. Did you hear what I just said? Your constant flouting of your weakness before the world, your constant flouting of your weakness before your open enemy makes us a greater, more vulnerable prey to the predators. You're crying, you're begging, you're pleading, you getting excited because you know how to link 2 or 3 words together to articulate to racist, that they are racist. You're looking at images of our people being slaughtered and you're devastated when you see it. You're terrorized, you're traumatized when you see it. And you think that your open enemy has the same kind of reaction that you have when they see you murdered? That shows a dense ignorance of war, and it shows a dense ignorance of who your open enemy is. And that ain't cute. Your weakness is making us a greater prey. That means that you are dangerous. That means that you are reckless in this war. That means that you're making us more susceptible to loss and death because of your weakness. I know you ain't heard it like that before, but I'm telling you that's what it is so that you'll stop doing it because it ain't cute. Listen, talks about how Domingo, this organization of Identity Europa, was founded in 2016 by Nathan Domingo, a former Marine who participated in 2 tours in Iraq. Let me help you with something. When you see Meghan McCain's funny looking self sitting on the View, acting like she's bragging and patting on the back military members because her father is a celebrated killer and war hog, y'all better talk black to me. Did you all hear what I said? Listen to what this says. It says that Identity Europa was founded in 2016 by Nathan Domingo. I'm skipping down. No, it says that the Marines are the least. He says this. Listen, he did 2 tours in Iraq. Y'all, Meghan McCain was sitting her funny looking self on there talking about how wonderful this person is because they served our country. They served our country. Let me tell you all something. I don't take this lightly when I'm talking about the military. There are some that are there that perhaps mean well and that really do believe that they're putting their lives on the line for their country to protect and to serve the country. We're in an age now where there can be no excuse about what the real agenda is when we go across the waters to murder the darker peoples of the earth primarily. How many more times are we going to continue to pat people on the back when we're in the age of all kinds of knowledge and access to knowledge? You have independent organizations and news outlets. You've got such things as the Final Call that gives you national and international news that exposes war crimes and so forth. It can be no excuse what you're signing up for, family, when you're in the military. Shout out to the vets. I don't mean any disrespect to some of you. Perhaps some of you can do some good. We know that there's a disproportionate number of black folk that are in the military. We do know that. But let me tell you something. There are other kinds of soldiers. Y'all have heard me say this many times before, and I'm not going to say it. Stop saying it. There are other kinds of soldiers. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, for example, I consider him to be a general. Other powerful black voices are higher ranking individuals in the black war. I have given you much evidence over and over and over again with multiple resources to show that we're at war. And the only folk that we extol as worthy of praise are folk that are in the military, when we know, George Bush, that these wars that kill hundreds of thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people had nothing to do with protecting and serving America. It was based on a provable lie that is not conspiracy, but we continue to pat folk on the back knowing full well that they're signing up to murder innocent people. As we speak now, there are drones, there are other silent wars that they don't quote unquote label wars, but no less they're taking the lives of other people, supposedly on behalf of American people. Every black person in America that has endured the torture and the murder and the sodomy and the theft and the fraud of America, every one of us are soldiers. Somebody talk black to me, and I don't let nobody forget it. When you sit here talking about military and all this kind of stuff, I'm always thinking about our people. Not to mention that we literally served in every single one of your wars when we were still in chattel slavery, when there was no realization of so-called emancipation and liberation for our people. We fought on both sides of the war. So that's the reason why no hick, no toothless, black tooth, hick, trailer park living, or three-piece suit wearing Congress racist can dare say nothing to me about we honor our military. I'm saying which soldiers? Whenever you sit there and talk about let's honor our soldiers, when I'm listening to Tulsi Gabbard, that lady that's running for president, when everybody puts their hands together and says that she's the only one that's running, every time I see somebody say something like that, I'm always going to say, which soldier? Because there's been a greater war. Afghanistan is the longest war we've been in, moving into 17 years. Now, baby, there's another war that's lasted much longer than that. And we're moving into the 5th century. And you better start saying it just like that. Some of you don't say it like that. You don't call a thing a thing. Let me help you today. You don't call a thing a thing. And when you don't call a thing, you've got knucklehead racist white congresspersons running around here saying that slavery was not about race. How many of you heard about that Republican congressman that's running around here saying that now? You know why he said it? He said because every people group has had slaves. They only feel comfortable saying that because we have not properly kept our foot on their necks with the truth. We go on these shows when we are public, when they do hear our voices, and we pander to them. We make sure that we don't say stuff too strong so that we don't offend them. Elijah Cummings. I can appreciate some of the stuff that Congressman Elijah Cummings has done. But Elijah Cummings was on the news this weekend. And he was asked point blank from Stephanopoulos as to whether or not Trump was a racist. Guess what he said? He paused a long time before he finally said yes. And after that, he said that he rarely ever uses the word race because he said when he uses those words, he says folk get lost, basically, when he uses the word race. Let me tell you something. Some of you all are making America feel comfortable and feel at ease in her terror. You don't call a thing a thing. Instead of you calling them racist, and instead of you talking about racism, instead of you being bold and black and unapologetic in what you're saying, don't get me wrong. Yes, we have to be strategic. I'm not saying being totally reckless. Think about what I'm saying in context and in balance before somebody think and say something stupid. But I'm saying you're doing too much on the other side of this. You got congressmen feeling comfortable saying what? You've heard another congressman say what? That black folks, we were indentured servants. Other people groups had slaves. No, baby. Many times those that they considered to be quote unquote slaves were often spoils of war. That was the norm. That was a normal tradition in any type of war. Whenever someone went in to conquer a land, they also went in to conquer the people. But slavery, as we know it, the racism that we experience here in America is because they felt that we were inferior. And not only that, they continue to say that lie, rather, that we were inferior, even though they came to get us because we were builders and the mothers and fathers of civilization. They made up a lie, and some of them actually start to believe that lie. But we do know that the difference is American slavery, as well as other types of slavery through Britain and throughout Britain and other parts of Europe, and of course, certainly the Caribbean. This type of slavery, there was never a time frame where you would be let off. They didn't intend for it to be that way originally, where you were let off. It was meant to dehumanize. Other slaves weren't buck broke. They didn't spread the man's cheeks open in front of the whole community. Other so-called slaves and other groups, bodies were not ripped in two by two different beasts. They were tied to two different beasts, and their bodies were ripped in two. And then they were tarred and feathered and set on fire. That was not the experience of the other quote-unquote slaves, which in many cases, they were actual spoils of war. We were considered to be a thing. We were considered to be property. And they never wanted to let us go. They chopped off the phallus and the penis of the man. They bit the breast of the woman. They constantly raped her, impregnated her. Many of the white women were responsible for setting up the rapes and the sexual assaults of the black woman so that the woman would become pregnant so that she could be a wet nurse for this trifling Becky, for this devil. Somebody talk black to me. Y'all remember I gave you all the receipts on that? Did an entire show on it through this black professor who wrote a book exposing the fact that she looked at 10 years, a whole decade worth of census, and found out that throughout that entire decade in the census that she looked through, she compiled all of this research, and 40% of slave holders were white women. And she found that in some of the cases, white women actually fought their own husbands in court to ensure that the husbands would not own the slaves. They found that the white woman was responsible for setting up the sexual assault between the black woman, oftentimes, again, with the white man, so that the white woman become pregnant, just so that the black woman would produce milk to feed the white woman's children and to become a wet nurse for multiple white women. That's some sick, twisted demon. They found out that the white woman also set up sexual assault and rape between the black woman and other black male slaves. We also know that these devils, sometimes they would blindfold them, sometimes they wouldn't. But they would make mothers sleep with son. Did you hear what I said? Hence the origin, based on some of our scholars, of the word mother effer. What sick thing? What sick thing? Do we properly call that a human being? What sick thing could do such a thing? And the first thing they want to ask us is, do you forgive? Are y'all healed yet? Let's unify. Stop dividing the country. What are you talking about, dividing the country, fool? There needs to be a necessary tension and division. I don't want to unify with a cancer like that. Somebody talk black to me. Mitch McConnell, with his chest poked out. He didn't deny the at least 14 slaves that they directly linked to him. And based on one of the reports, I think they talked about the fact that they were considered to be mulattoes, which is a very good chance that his father was a disgusting, sick rapist. Can you imagine being made up of such sick, twisted savages? Y'all better hear me today. Y'all better hear me today. Did you hear what I just said? Family, keep giving us a thumbs up, keep liking, keep sharing. This is important stuff. Listen to this. Back to this article from WSWS.org that's exposing how in the military it says all ranks and all branches. Somebody say all ranks and all branches, where they're showing racists, white nationalists, it says, that are being recruited and nurtured in the military. We're giving you nothing but receipts here, family. I'm trying to show you. Stop being excited to merely articulate how terrible racism is. That ain't enough for them. They're empowered by that. They're getting, I told you earlier, what did I say? I was telling you how the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, was questioned by black congresspersons about this illegal program that they appeared to have initiated, which was called BIE's Black Identity Extremists, where it shows that they were targeting and surveillancing black folk that were standing against injustice. That was not the purpose of the hearing. The black Congress people probably knew that they weren't going to get another hearing, so that they utilized that particular hearing that they were there for to question him. One of the things that he testified, Christopher Wray, at that time, he said that there are at least 1,000 credible white supremacists organizations that the government needs to be looking into. I said that your current FBI director, Christopher Wray, said that. That are of concern. They're out here getting weapons and training, and you sitting here giggling on social media talking about them fools is in the woods training like they training for a war. You see how you a weak soldier? Don't even know what time it is. Somebody talk black to me. Don't even know what time it is. It says upon his release, Domingo, he ended up being in prison, y'all. It says during Domingo's 2 tours in Iraq, he became radicalized and suffered from PTSD following the loss of 3 close friends. In October 2007, 1 month after completing his 2nd tour, Domingo, severely inebriated after celebrating the anniversary of the death of one of his fellow soldiers, robbed a taxi driver at gunpoint, y'all, of $43. Lord have mercy. For, quote, looking Iraqi. Domingo was discharged from the military and convicted of armed robbery. He was then sentenced to 5 years in prison. Do y'all know anybody black who committed armed robbery that only got 5 years? Can I tell you all that that was what my sentence was? Somebody talk black to me. Somebody talk black to me. While the judge had up to 20 years to give your sister. Y'all ain't listening to me today. You better tell me. Don't you dare talk to me about no American justice system. And then when we call America out for her racism, she want to act like that we're not patriotic. I just told you all, we fought in every war that America had. We fought on both sides of the Civil War. That means that before there was an Emancipation Proclamation, we were fighting. Some of them promised to give us freedom when we fought. We fought in World War I, World War II. We fought in the Korean War. We fought in Vietnam. We fought in all of America's wicked wars. And don't you forget what the hell we were going through in America. Couldn't pee in the same toilet. Couldn't go to the same schools. Couldn't buy land in certain places. Giving poll taxes. Unable to vote. Being lynched. And the nature of our people was to still try to serve America. Still try to believe in the good of America. That America could change. That America could grow a conscience. Y'all better hear me today. Somebody talk black to me. We're going to talk about real solutions at the All Black National Convention the weekend of September 27, Houston, Texas. Family, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. Get your tickets. Meet us there. Somebody talk black to me. Where we're going to talk about for real solutions with the great Dr. Boyce Watkins, with the great Dr. Claude Anderson. Did you hear what I said? The great Willie D and others. And your sister, God willing, will be in the midst of these powerful living legends in our midst. Are y'all hearing me? Solutions. If you want to learn how to grow your dollar so that you can start to have resources so that you can teach your own children or put them in a black school or support a black business or even just get resources together so that you can make your own garden or to start to invest some resources. Are y'all hearing me? FlyNubianMoney.com, FlyNubianBusiness.com. These are practical things that you can do. FlyNubianMoney.com, FlyNubianBusiness.com. This information will be in the comment section. Shout out to our moderators that's put that in there. Keep listening as I'm giving you more and more evidence on how the law enforcement, the military is infiltrated with these sleeper spies. It says what again? Upon his release from prison in 2014, Domingo began attending classes at California State University. While in college, he affiliated with various white supremacist groups before forming his own organization dubbed Identity Europa in 2016. Borrowing the reactionary language and methods of identity politics promoted on campuses by postmodernist professors and the pseudo-left, Domingo was able to cultivate family, a following with a small membership. He also began to affiliate with prominent racists, including neo-Nazi and white supremacist Richard Spencer. I know many of you have heard of him. Are y'all hearing me today? It talks about in November 2018, ProPublica, in conjunction with PBS, exposed another neo-Nazi network with the members who are either active in the military or who previously served. What does that mean? If they're active in the military family, that means that many of them may have access to intelligence and what else? Equipment, weapons. Y'all better hear me. If some of them are still active in the military, that means that they have what? Access to intelligence and weapons. But y'all just sitting here looking, talking about how wrong it is and how you can't believe it's happening. Can you imagine if your car, God forbid, ran off the road, ran off the highway, and it ran off into a lake or something? Are you just going to be in the car while the car is going down in the lake talking about, I can't believe this is happening? Can you believe this is happening? Water all up in your mouth, bubbles coming all out your nose, and you sitting there underwater talking about, I just can't believe this is happening. Is that what you would do? When you are involved in a life and death situation like we are here in America, is that enough to be drowning, bubbles coming up out your nose and your mouth, and you just simply saying, I can't believe I ran off the road? Is that going to cause you to live? Are you going to say, I can't believe they pushed me off the road? That ain't right. Are you going to be talking about how unfair it is? And how you had the light? or how they were speeding and they shouldn't have been. You ain't gonna be talking about none of that. You're gonna be trying to survive and live. That's fighting back in a reasonable way. And there are different types of way to fight back. And one of the ways, as I mentioned before, to fight back is do for yourself. Educate your own children. Start to make where you live decent, safe places to live. Policing your own communities. Continue to expose what's happening. I'm not saying that, but that can't be the only thing we doing. We feel good just because you can articulate racism. Some of our people want so bad to be in the presence of our open enemies, to show them what they're made of. Let Stacey Abrams become governor so that she can make Georgia a better place. Let's elect a whole bunch of more black Congress people. Let me tell you something. If you elect a whole bunch of Congress people that's willing to be on code and get enough of them in there to where enough of their votes will make a difference on certain issues, yeah, do it. Use them strategically. But you better make sure that they black for real. Otherwise, family, that's not benefiting us. We're using the big black brain, as we say here on the Vicki Show. We use all of our intelligence to help build systems and institutions for our open enemy. We improve their systems. We invent wonderful and exciting things in companies and corporations. You come up with ideas that make those companies multi-billion-dollar companies. But you refuse to even do something on the side for your own people. Y'all better talk black to me. Empowering and emboldening those racist systems. You want to go in there as Congress people to supposedly make America better, and then you all end up going in there getting corrupted worse than anybody else and voting along party lines for companies and corporations and for bills that ain't got nothing to do with black people. Again, thus emboldening racist, white supremacist systems, companies, businesses, and people. Moreover, when you are not trying to build for your own people at the same time, that means that you are showing an extraordinary amount of hope and faith in a nation that God himself has said he's going to ultimately judge. You're trying to give life support to a dead thing. I'm going to remind you all that on a regular basis. Watch this. I'm almost done. It says here, I'm skipping down. It says it's unknown exactly how many of the 2.1 million soldiers currently in the U.S. military and reserves have fascist sympathies or are active members of a far-right organization. However, are y'all listening? In a 2017 poll conducted by Military Times, found nearly, are y'all ready for this? Found nearly 25% of service members surveyed stated that they had encountered white supremacists within their ranks. Y'all, that's a quarter. These are amongst military folks that stated that they have encountered white supremacists within their ranks. That same poll found that 30% of those surveyed viewed white nationalism as a bigger threat to the United States than the wars in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. This is what the breaking news is, family. Let me gavel on that. Did you all catch that? I told y'all before that the only religion, the only real government, international government, is white supremacy. These imaginary boundaries that we give so much respect to, that you call the United States of America versus the Caribbean versus Europe versus the 54 countries in Africa and stuff, all those boundaries that were made by white folk in the first place. It's practically useless. Listen, did you hear what I just said? I said that means that the very people that are in the military, the soldiers that have the guns, and that are trained to kill, those individuals. They're not talking to no civilians. They're not asking us what is our 2 cents on this. They're going directly to the people that this concerns. The actual military folks said, and this is recent, this is a 2017 poll conducted by Military Times, found nearly 25% of service members surveyed stated that they had encountered white supremacists within their ranks. And the same poll found that 30% of those surveyed viewed white nationalism. Listen, the military folks that we ship off to Afghanistan, the soldiers that we send across the water to protect and to serve other so-called enemies, other terrorists, the ones that we are entrusting to do the fighting for us, they said, 30% of them said that white nationalism is a bigger threat to the United States than the wars in Syria, Afghanistan, or Iraq. What of that? That's the breaking news. Somebody talk black to me. Look at this devil, this terrorist, Frank Toledo, Officer Frank Toledo. Look at Frank Toledo, family. Y'all see him? Y'all see Officer Frank Toledo? Y'all see him? Article from July 20th. Just came out. This is from Atlanta Black Star. They titled this is what he said. I'm gonna read it first before I even read you the title. It says an FBI investigation into several police officers in Patterson, New Jersey has led to a 7th one being charged. Y'all listen. On Tuesday, somebody said another school shooter. Oh no, baby, this is even worse than this. Watch this. On Tuesday, if you can call it that, Frank Toledo pled guilty in U.S. District Court in Newark. He pled guilty, family. He pled guilty, family. He pled guilty, family. So don't nobody need to sit up here to try to protect this and say, well, a jury had to look at the evidence, so we're not really sure. He pled guilty. Frank Toledo here, right? In U.S. District Court in Newark, to conspiracy to violate people's civil rights using excessive force and filing a false police report, the Patterson Times reported. The U.S. Attorney's Office and our law enforcement partners remain committed to identifying and prosecuting corrupt police officers who violate the civil rights of our people, U.S. Attorney Craig Caponito told the publication. He goes on to talk. I'm skipping. On the false police report charge. How many times have we heard police officers lying, filing false police reports? On the false police report charge, Toledo, 30, would work with fellow officers. Somebody say he's not alone. Somebody say he's not alone. Somebody say these trained killers that pretend that they're there to protect and serve you. These trained killers that know that there's no other job where they can flex their murderous nature. They can't find another vocation where they can flex their murderous tendencies in nature. Be who they are. Except the police department or the military or somewhere like that. Listen. It says on the false police report, Toledo 30 would work with fellow officers Matthew Torres, Ramos, Pent, and Bustillos. I said he's not alone. They can't tell us that these are just a few bad apples. I'm going to give you one more example here in a minute. Just give me a few more minutes. I'm almost done, family. Don't go nowhere. We're almost done. But I'm giving you good, powerful talking points. And I'm also giving you solutions as well. Listen to the whole show to pick up the solutions. Intelligent people know how to listen. They know how to take in information. And then they know how to take you audit your life. You look at whatever skills and gifts and what's within your hand. You look at your sphere of influence and you see what you can do about it. On the false police report, Toledo, again, who's 30, along with all of those other names I just named, who? Torres, Ramos, Pent, Bustillos. That's at least 4 more, right? who have been charged in the probe along with 2 other officers not involved with Toledo. So them, in addition to a couple of more, y'all, to stop and search vehicles without justification. You know why this kind of stuff pisses me off a lot of times, family? Because how many times our people have said they stopped me for no reason and we just roll our eyes as if, child, please. How many times have our people said, no, I didn't do that? And some of you all said they wouldn't have stopped you for nothing. If the feds is looking at you, if the police stop, it must be a reason. You so brainwashed. You so sick yourself that you slower to believe your people than you are your open enemy who has a long, thick history of murder and rape and lies. And every now and then, if you find out that one of your people got it wrong, you say, see what I'm talking about. Child, please, you better sit your funny looking self down. Every situation, I'm always going to err on the side of my people first and foremost. Did you hear what I said? And one of the main reasons I'm going to do that, in terms of on its face, of course, I need to look at the evidence and all this other kind of stuff. But when I first hear something, I'm always going to give our people the benefit of the doubt. You know why? Because our open enemies are the ones, if they did do it, our open enemies are the ones that created the conditions that we're in the first place. They don't justify what they did in many instances, but sometimes our own people don't even know what's moving them. Keep listening. It says what? They would stop and search vehicles without justification. The officers would loot the vehicles of valuables and cash. Did y'all hear what I said? These officers would loot the vehicles of valuables and cash, splitting it among themselves. What a job to have. Carrying a badge and a gun. And they get to steal from you. And you don't get to do nothing about it. Somebody talk black to me. Stopping them without justification. To do what? To loot, to steal from them. Splitting it amongst themselves. And stealing money wasn't just reserved for traffic stops. The newspaper also reported they'd stop and frisk people on the street and steal their money. Y'all better hear me today. It ain't just slavery. It's not just a scam of what they did under sharecropping. It's not just the modern day prison industrial complex where they're using our free labor and black bodies to make products that many of you enjoy and to put out fires in California and pick up trash. Y'all listen. It says to conceal the cash they took during stops, Toledo and his comrades would file false police reports. One example of that came on December 2nd, 2017. Then Toledo, Ramos stopped and arrested a person in Patterson and kept $1,000 in cash for themselves. Family, this was going on. Not with one bad apple. I'm going to prove it to you for those of you that say it ain't everybody in the police. Fool, it's enough of them. It's enough of them. How many of you know that if you fill up this whole glass with water, and if I put just a pinch of dirt in it, how many of you know the entire thing is polluted? The military is not Burger King. Y'all better talk black to me. The police department is not McDonald's. Shout out to you, Mademoiselle, for your gift. What do you mean, Vicki? That means that if one person who's running a drive-through screws up, they can just fire them. The Big Mac making is going to continue to go on. The double cheeseburgers will continue to exist. People that are in dangerous positions like this have the power of life and death. They have the power to take the freedom, the liberty of another person away based on a lie. They have the power to steal somebody's rent money, somebody's mortgage money, or somebody's play money and get away with it. Y'all better hear me today. Such activities, are y'all listening? Such activities were communicated through text messages using mango as a code word for cash. Somebody say mango. Somebody give me a mango. I don't even know if they have a mango as an emoji. Listen. They would use the word mango. Mango amongst these officers was code for cash. I'm quoting him now. Y'all listen to this. Yo, what the F are you doing? I'm trying to go mango hunting. Let's go! Bustillos text Toledo on November 6, 2017. Did you all hear what I just said? I see the mango. Shout out to you all for putting that in there for me. That mango was cash for them. I just read you a direct text from one of these race soldiers. There were also apparent admissions of using excessive force on residents, which resulted in 3 charges. So some of you all that's out here, some of these fraternal orders of police, y'all know these fraternal orders of police that back police officers, no matter what the evidence shows. These are, in some of these cases, these are admissions. Admissions. Watch what they said. I've been borderline blacking out when I catch these niggers, Toledo told Bustillos as he recalled the chase and beatdown. I beat that nigger like he owed me money. I said some of these were confessions, family. I said some of these were confessions, family. And you still have these police fraternal orders backing some of these folks. Another incident saw Toledo and Ramos chasing and tackling a resident and hitting the person multiple times in an incident that was captured on video and uploaded to YouTube. The individual was later released without charges. And how many times have our people said, I didn't do it? Y'all saw footage the other day of this white officer that was planting, I think it was meth, drugs on a whole bunch of folk, and they had to throw out 100 and plus some cases. I gave you his name before. How many of you remember that? Let me give you another quick receipt here. Family. Keep listening. Keep texting the words Queens to 31996. Keep giving us a thumbs up. Keep liking, keep sharing, family. Listen to this. By the way, family, follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. I have a major interview in the morning. And it's going to be real talk. Somebody talk black to me. I'll be on Reverend Jesse Lee Peters' show in the morning. Check out my Instagram page at Vicki X Dillard for details. Listen. I want to show you this. All this stuff that I'm talking to you about is recent. Another article, July 20th. Black commissioner, quote unquote, is angry and disappointed. Why? After investigation finds, y'all ready for this number? I need y'all to put this number in here. For people that lie and say it's just a couple of bad apples. Watch this. Mind you, police brutality is an issue that our folks were saying way back in the 20th century. The Nation of Islam busted this up 60, 70, 80, 90 years ago. They was talking about this then. Other black liberation organizations talked about police. So this is not something new. It's just something that folk have ignored. We've been complaining about and talking about. This other article here. I want to show you his face. This is Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross Jr. This is the black commissioner. Listen to what the black commissioner said. Listen to what Mr. Ross Jr. just says here. More than a dozen Philadelphia police officers have been suspended. Before I read that, this is what the title says. Black commissioner is angry and disappointed after investigation finds, y'all ready for this? 328 active Philadelphia cops made offensive social media posts. 328 active Philadelphia cops made offensive social media posts. I'm almost finished. I said 328 active Philadelphia cops made offensive social media posts. More than a dozen Philadelphia police officers have been suspended for 30 days with intent to dismiss following a police investigation into racist or hateful social media posts. What happens? Why is that important for us to know what they're posting? Because it gives us a clue into their mindsets. These are the people that claim to be protecting and serving you. But they're giving us insight into their mindsets that they actually hate you. Y'all better talk black to me. Don't tell me that the military, that the law enforcement is not infiltrated with these race soldiers, with these trained killers, with folks that have access to intelligence and weapons and resources that you don't. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross, the black man that I just showed you, who made the announcement Thursday at a press conference, said 4 added officers were less offensive posts, only faced the suspension. I continue to be very angry and disappointed by these posts, many of which, in my view, violate basic tenets of human decency. He refused to name the officers, but the Plainview Project, which has been researching offensive police postings since the summer of 2016, keeps a public database of their posts. As a result of the police investigation, 72 officers were placed on administrative duty following allegations they posted racist or hateful content online, according to CNN. Penalties for the posts range from a reprimand to a 5-day suspension, Ross said. Although most of the posts didn't contain violent content, Ross admitted that some did. Y'all hear that? Y'all better hear me today. Others featured Confederate imagery, anti-Muslim beliefs, or racist comments. Let me tell y'all something. When you all keep hearing, every time they talk about quote unquote minority groups, they love to talk about racist, those that are xenophobic, those that they claim are Islamophobic. And then you hear folks talking about those that are homophobic. Let me tell you something. How many of those, mostly those other groups, immigrant groups, other groups, LGBTQ, it ain't often that the threats that they claim that they face, which are few and far between compared to ours, rarely do they have a violent connection to it. How many of them are you seeing regularly murdered on iPhones? That's the reason why it should be offensive to every black person when folks string along LGBTQ issues, other so-called minority groups with what ours is, when there is nobody's issue that compares to ours for 464 years. I'm not saying that they haven't gone through some stuff and that there are not issues there. I'm just saying it needs to be in a separate paragraph, in a separate sentence. I'm saying 464 years separates us. And your struggle is not our struggle. And you are either willfully slow mentally and or a liar not to make that connection. It's not about disrespecting any other people group. You know this is what it is. You know this is obvious. I'm making that point because I'm trying to tell you that those that try to hitch themselves onto our wagon is doing so because they're part of an agenda to pimp our suffering so that they can continue to benefit from it, like mostly white women do with affirmative action. You all know that the white women are the greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action. Do you all know that? Because they're considered to be, women being considered to be a minority group. That was not supposed to be the focus of that, family. Y'all better talk black to me. $328 family is not a one bad apple. Then I want to show you this and I'm done. How many times have you all know, how many shows have I done calling out racist women, whether it's racist Asian women, which I'm getting ready to show you some footage right now and audio, or white women? Remember, I call that soft power. I told you that your open enemy begins to use their women. They deploy their women in war because it makes racism and the agenda of white supremacy more digestible. When you don't recognize that there is war activity going on, when there are women is involved, you will invite your own destruction. Your guard isn't up. You're not alerted to what's fixing to get ready to go down. But you talking to a fly Nubian queen. Somebody talk black to me. Who's both physical and metaphysical. And I'm just trying to let you know that Becky ain't finna keep getting away with this. Geraldine, who I'm literally getting ready to talk to, and that's literally her name, ain't getting ready to get y'all, Geraldine, she finna sit her funny looking self down. Somebody talk black to me. Meet us at the All Black National Convention, families. Moderators, please put that information up real quick before I shift. allblacknationalconvention.com. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard family as well, because that way I keep you up to date on everything that I'm doing. Text the word Queens to 31996. And family, if you think that you've got what it takes to you fly Nubian Queens, reach out to us at producer@flynubianmedia.com. I want to show you something, family. Are y'all ready to see this? Are y'all ready to see this? Are y'all ready to see this? Watch this. I want you all to see this video. I want you to see this. Let me cue this while I'm cueing it, family. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep reposting, keep giving us a thumbs up. Are y'all ready for this? Let me show you this other picture first. Okay, I believe this is the video footage here. If not, I'll go to my Instagram page to post it. I've already read the fair use. Somebody say the name Geraldine Lovely. That's literally her name. I'm not making this up. Geraldine Lovely. My God, today. Somebody say Geraldine. Geraldine Lovely is her name. Allegedly. Let me show you a picture of Geraldine. Let's look at Geraldine real quick. You're getting ready to watch a quick video. That's Geraldine. Geraldine, this is who we're referring to. Do you see the picture next to her? In the military. Do you see her fatigues on? Don't get it twisted. It ain't just the men. I said don't get it twisted. It's not just the men. See, black women are being assaulted all through the military. You all know that they were assaulting the black, that they were trying to regulate natural hairstyles in the military and refuse to allow black women to have those styles while they're protecting and serving America, while they're putting their lives on the line. Of course, you know, now they've tried to change that, and they even went through the courts. Some of the courts ruled in their favor. Some of them did not. Y'all better hear me today. Let's talk about Geraldine. Thanks, she cute. I want you to pay attention. U.S. Air Force technical sergeant. Somebody say technical. The military term for technical is one definition. I'm just calling her this little tech. Geraldine Lovely, U.S. Air Force technical sergeant. Y'all get ready for this. I want y'all to watch this. Oh, by the way, if you have children, she uses explicit language. Y'all see how disgusting our enemy is? How often I get tired of telling parents to either to remove your children from the room or to take this off of speaker because of how disgusting. See, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Your mouth is often a reflection of what's going on in your head. Somebody talk black to me. So this language that she's getting ready to use is disrespectful. It's a lot of cussing. So family, I want you all to please, if you have children, please beware. I want to give you just a couple of seconds to either remove your children or to take your thing off of speaker. But if you have children, be aware the language that she used is disgusting. It's explicit. Are y'all ready? Which the mouth of a person is often a match to them. For real, for real. I know folks cuss every now and then. I'm not talking about no little stuff like that. But this speaks volumes. U.S. Air Force technical sergeant from Nellis Air Force Base has been demoted after her video rant about black female subordinates went viral. Geraldine Lovely was recently demoted to staff sergeant after the immense controversy surrounding a video post she made on the Facebook Air Force community page. These things are emboldened. Those 328 police officers I just read you about from Jersey, y'all, they did that on a public social media site. The other police officers that I talked to about that before then, I think they were from Philadelphia. Remember, some of them admitted to what they did. Y'all better hear me today. This chick, she went viral with hers, which shows you the limits. See, whenever we talk about how white supremacy is a lie, the systems that white supremacy has built, it's based on that lie. So when we're talking about what white supremacy is, we're talking about the world, the ideology, the systems and institutions that have been built on that lie. But the impetus for such systems and institutions is based on the lie. And white supremacy is something that is contained in the bodies of whites and Asian people, and our own, and black bodies too. Those are what we call coons. Those are what we call recipients of the Meritorious Manumission Awards. That's what we call butter biscuits. And that's why we shine the light on it, so that you don't get confused when the first layer isn't obvious. But this appears to be an Asian woman. This is Geraldine. And you all know that that's some of the worst hell that we experience in terms of white supremacy, that second group of Asian people that tend to be extraordinarily disrespectful and violent to black people, especially as it relates to business. Watch this. Y'all ready for this? Okay, I'm getting ready to cue the video. I'm getting ready to cue the video. Who we watching? Geraldine Lovely, this technical girl. And pay attention to her words.
Fucking issues with my airmen and my NCOs that are lower ranking than me, but they're black females. And it pisses me the fuck off that they have no fucking respect and constantly having an attitude. And what the fuck is up with that? Like, I'm trying my best to hold my professionalism with them, but good God, they have no fucking respect whatsoever. Every time I talk to them, no ma'am. It's just like they're talking down to me, and I'm trying to tread lightly as a, higher ranking NCO, not to fucking blow the fuck up and start a fight club. But I'm over it. Why is that? Why is it that every time I encounter, my subordinates that are black females, they have a giant fucking attitude? And it's not like I'm coming to them with a fucking attitude. I don't. But every time I fucking talk to them, it's like I'm just some fucking stupid ass girl that it just doesn't even, what is that called? Like I don't even deserve to be talked to as a person. So educate.
Did y'all hear Geraldine? Did y'all hear Geraldine? Now let me ask you all something. Sisters, what they can't stand about us, y'all better talk black to me. What they cannot stand about the black woman is that this melanin of ours, laced with our spirituality, makes us see and sense beyond what's obvious to the eye. And so when we speak, you feel us, and we press past the BS, and we get right to the heart of the matter. And so from a distance, from 10 miles away, we can tell a devil and we can tell a fraud. Now, just based on what you all heard and saw, who spirit are you picking up has the real attitude? Somebody talk black to me. Who's got the real attitude? Without even knowing who the sisters are, who has the real attitude? Notice, she gave us an example of what she considered to be disrespect. She said that the sisters would just say, no, ma'am. Notice, I doubt very seriously they cussed her out. I doubt very seriously they called her a name, because she probably would have used the most egregious situation, the most egregious phrase or words to make them look bad, if that's really what they did. But the worst that they did was to say, yes, ma'am. You know why, baby? Because they see you. I need some little mice. I need somebody to give me some emoji mice. I need some gray ones and some white ones. Because I think those are the only two that I know about on these people's phones. Can I please get a little rat and a mouse, please? Can I please get, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm seeing them. I'm seeing the little ears and stuff. Thank you, Dual. Thank you. Now, Geraldine, we know here on the Vicki Show, Fly Nubian Queen TV network, that mice are little. You sound like one. Look like one too. They're little. But we know that mice can be dangerous. We know they can cause a lot of damage to a house or to a building if they bite away at it. We know that they can carry disease when they release their little droppings. So you mad at the sister because when the sister see you, they see your BS. And I can tell just from the way she started this video, you think that you're better than somebody else because the first thing she said is my subordinates. Let me play it for you one more time. Let me play it for you one more time. Let me play it for you one more time. If you have children, keep the children away for the next 1.5 minutes. We almost done, family. I want to play Geraldine Lovely. Geraldine. Baby, they mad at us, sis, because we can see through them. We are the most compassionate women. We've been the help. We've nurtured your children out with our breasts, and we've nurtured them naturally. We're there for friends. We're there for our children, for our men. We're the ones putting money on the books. We're the ones that's getting the education. We're the ones that's operating in excellent customer service. We're the ones that go miles and miles above and beyond. Yes, every now and then we get a little tired. And yeah, I'll be calling out these little trifling sisters that are here and there. But for the most part, baby, you ain't finna paint us like that, little girl. This little rat better sit her funny looking self down. Baby, you ain't paid no price. And if we do have an attitude, 464 years is a reason why. That same military is the one that told the sisters that they couldn't have braids while they're putting their lives on the line for their country. I want y'all to pay attention to several things that she says, and we out of here. Listen to what she says, y'all, and tell me who got the attitude.
Fucking issues with my airmen and my NCOs that are lower ranking with me, but they're black females.
You hear how she started it? My lower ranking NCOs, my airmen who are black females. But she started with the F word first. She started with she started with the attitude first. Did she not, family? No, baby, that's what you bring into the table. See, sisters, we can pick up your aura. We can pick up the unseen from a mile away. And that's what ticks people off. And we ain't about to change that, family. And brothers, if you had any sense, instead of you all dogging your own women out, talking about attitude, you would utilize our supernatural superpowers to be able to tap into stuff we can't see. If you had any sense. And by the way, much of the attitude wouldn't be there if we wasn't doing everything. See, when you come to the table, brothers, with enough money to relieve us of trouble, when you're nurturing your garden instead of destroying it and putting weed eater all over it and making us susceptible to all kind of insects and squirrels and animals and stuff, Becky can relax because she just came from the spa. Becky just had a steam bath at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. Becky is not putting money on Pookie and Ray Ray's books like we do. Becky is talking about let's go to the park and let's ride tricycles together. And you saying she just so free flowing. She just so easy to be with. She don't have this load, fool. If you could come with the money, with the resources, and with the love to alleviate that pain, baby, I'm going to be the first one talking about let's go swing. I don't even know how to ride a bike, but I will say, let's go ride one. I'm 40 years old and don't know how to ride a bike, but I will tell you, let's go ride a bike, baby. Let's do some cartwheels and stuff. Where everybody was dogging out, what's that basketball player's wife name? who they was dogging out because they was making fun of the way she was dancing. Curry. What's her name? Y'all know I did a whole show on her. What's the Curry girl? Aisha Curry. I would be dancing just like that, but worse. That would be me. And I wouldn't give 2 cents who said I look crazy. I would be dancing just like that. Free living, free flowing. With a man that makes me feel good, that loves me, that's nurturing, that's providing and protecting. Who wouldn't feel like they can conquer the world and talking about, baby, let's go mountain. Let's go to the mountains. Baby, what you want? Remove the burden. In addition to the fact that Becky does not have 464 years worth of hell she's been through. Somebody talk black to me. She's just so easy. Of course she is, fool. That's what you want because you're lazy, you're trifling, and you don't want to do the work with your natural companion. And that's okay. Because I'm not one of the ones who run around here beg a man to be. You must, ladies, you got to know who you are. Desperate and just taking any and everything. You and the devil is a liar. Somebody talk black to me. Meanwhile, this is how they see you. Meanwhile, that's the same one that's still putting your tail today behind bars. Keep listening to what she said, y'all.
And it pisses me the fuck off that they have no fucking respect and constantly having an attitude.
Listen to that again.
That they have no fucking respect and constantly having an attitude.
What's respect? She spelled it with a K. She said respect. Respect. What's respect? Did she get that from the dictionary? Geraldine, you don't get to use stuff from the dictionary. See, when you're sitting here dogging out black women, we're going to nitpick everything you do and say because we see you for the little mouse that you are. You ain't getting away with nothing, including pronunciations. Say it right. It's respect. We're the only ones that get to say respect. What you look like dogging out somebody else and how terrible somebody into some respect. Oh, yeah, baby. You don't even get to say respect. You don't get to borrow from the dictionary on this one.
And what the fuck is up with that? Like, I'm trying my best to hold my professionalism with that, but good.
Do y'all see her movements? I'm trying my best. Let me say something to you. How you going to say they're your subordinates and that they're your airmen? And you're supposed to be going across the waters, fighting enemies, terrorists, people that are threats to the United States, and you can't keep it together because a black woman says to you, yes, ma'am. Girl, you are a ticking time bomb. Your funny looking self, Geraldine, you're the dangerous one. Want some respect. No, you don't get to borrow from the dictionary. You finna pronounce everything right. You finna say it right. You finna do everything right. We finna nitpick everything. Enemy. Somebody talk black to me. But good God. No, baby, you sound like any minute you finna explode. That means you dangerous. How can we trust her family to fight an enemy when she's treating something this low of a level as something that's getting under her skin? Listen to what she says. That's a threat. This is what makes this demon dangerous.
God, that they have no fucking respect whatsoever. Every time I talk to them, no ma'am. It's just like they're talking down to me. And I'm trying to tread lightly as a, higher ranking NCO, not to fucking blow the fuck up and start.
Did you hear that? She loves to talk about how she's a higher ranking this and she's trying not to blow up. I'm almost done. Listen. Notice what she's getting ready to say next. I'm going to rewind it just a tad bit. Listen to this.
To fucking blow the fuck up and start a fight club. But I'm old.
She said to start a fight club. Geraldine. Did y'all hear what she said? She's trying not to blow up as a higher ranking officer, not to start a fight club, y'all. She said not to start a fight club, y'all. She wants some respect. And she's threatening to start a fight club, y'all. fight club. Y'all, Geraldine better have some weapons, because that's the only thing that's going to really make you feel safe. Talking noise like that with a sister. You think that you finna start a fight club, which means you going to go straight knuckle fighting with a sister and win? Geraldine, you really feeling yourself, girl. Geraldine is really for real feeling herself, y'all. Geraldine just said she finna start a fight club with these black women, because they ain't giving her no respect with a K.
Over it. Why is that? Why is it that every time I encounter, my subordinates that are black females, they have a giant fucking attitude, and it's not like I'm coming to them with a fucking attitude.
Now she said she's not. It's not like I'm coming to them with an effing attitude. Do we believe that she's not coming to them with an attitude? Just this post alone lets us know who's operating with an attitude and why she's getting attitude back. Sisters must know she's dangerous, because you just told the world on a Facebook post that you were threatening to start a fight club. You really trying to act like you big and bad, girl. Girl, you trying to act like you big and bad, Geraldine. Geraldine, y'all, is sitting up in this little mouse, y'all. I need some more mice. This little rat, this little mice, this little mouse rat, this little mouse is up here talking about she finna start a fight club. She thinks she finna beat up Keisha Neal. Knuckle to knuckle. Y'all better talk black to me. We about done.
Be talked to as a person. So educate.
The last thing she was saying, so educate me. Well, we educating you. You better watch this whole 2-hour show today. Thankfully, the latest thing that I read on her is apparently she's no longer in the military. They're still not giving us more details, because they said because of privacy issues, and they cited the policy that forbids them from getting more. I'm getting ready to end the show, family, because I don't want any more interruptions. Family, thank you so much for tuning in. I just wanted to show you how the military has been infiltrated and how we need to start to do for self, support each other. Make sure that you subscribe to FlyNubianQueen.com. Make sure, family, that you go to FlyNubianMoney.com, FlyNubianBusiness.com to help with your black business and your black dollars. Meet me tomorrow, same time, same place, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. But also check out my Instagram page to find out more details about the interview that I plan to do in the morning. You can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard, as well as other social media platforms, and also subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Vicki Dillard. Vicki Dillard. Family, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Every one of you that gave, every one of you that commented, every one of you that are listening and that's just here, every one of you that said talk black to me, thank you so much. I leave you in the manner in which I came, that is in peace. Assalamu alaikum.